Hi, everybody. It's Tony Caridi, and this is an instant reaction from three guys before the game on the hiring of Darian DeVries as the 23rd head men's basketball coach at West Virginia University, joined by the other two guys, Brad Howe and Hoppy Kirchville. Well, guys, Ren Baker said it shouldn't take all that long. He was right. It took less than 2 weeks for West Virginia to get its hire made. It's Darian DeVries, and Hoppy, he comes from Drake University, where he has had tremendous success, and not only as a player but as a longtime assistant at Creighton, West Virginia, has just hired a guy with a lot of success behind him in his coaching days.
Yeah, and Brad's going to talk a lot about that. I'm going to talk about the search, and I see 4 or 5 angles here on this search. One is that it was data-driven. It started with being data-driven. Who has had success, and not just wins and losses, but success, program success. And once you do that through the broad spectrum, then you get a list of candidates, and certainly Ren Baker had a fairly extensive list on that. And then come the interviews, the phones or the Skypes or Zooms, and then face-to-face, and then you start to narrow it down more and more. And you really got down to about 3 or 4 people. At that point, people talked about not only him, but also Medved and Byington and a couple others. And then, is it a culture fit? And Brad's going to talk about that too. Is it a fit as opposed to just trying to hire a person? And that's really important because you got family involved. And is that coach going to feel comfortable going from wherever they are to wherever they're to coming here? Gordon Gee had to sign off on it. And Gordon Gee, I know, had a long conversation with DeVries and felt very good about it. So he signed off on it. And you also, in this search, you want your list to be, your final list to be those who want to be here. You don't want to be in a position like Louisville that, oh, this guy turned it down, that guy turned it down. That's a bad vibe to have. So you want the finalists to be people who want the job and want to be here. And so I think it was a really smartly conducted search, happened pretty quickly. And I think that with the searches that are going on, that Ren Baker was a couple days ahead of some of these other schools that are still trying to fill positions. So search-wise, I thought it was executed very well. And you ended up with a guy that checks, and Gordon Gee said this to me too, that checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, 48 years old is Darian DeVries. And just by coincidence, also just like the senator from the state of Iowa, you know this guy.
I do know him well, have followed his career since he played basketball at Appleton Parkersburg High School, then to Northern Iowa, where he was a really talented player as well. Hop, I think you said a couple things there that make a lot of sense, and we'll dive into some of this culture fit here. 2 things you're looking for. You need a really good coach, and then you want somebody that fits. And I think Ren hit a home run on both of those parts. You talk about a guy in Darian DeVries that's at Drake right now. Let's talk about Drake for a second. 7 NCAA tournaments in the school's history, 3 under DeVries. Has won 20-plus games every year he's been there. That's a hard job, guys. Let me say that again. 7 NCAA tournaments in their history. Do have a Final Four back with Dolph Pulliam and my old high school coach, Jim O'Day, got him to the 69 Final Four. But then you went a long time, and there's been some really good coaches. Tom Davis, you may have heard of him, right? Formerly at Boston College and the University of Iowa. His son, Keno, got him into an NCAA tournament, but there were a long stretch where Drake was not in, so that tells me a lot. I think you get a really stable guy in Darian DeVries. 17, 18 seasons at Creighton as an assistant. Talk about passing up some jobs to make sure he had the right fit. And for him, that was getting back to Drake. Success as an assistant under Dana Altman. Success under Greg McDermott. Both guys that we've just watched play in the NCAA tournament and had high-level success. So I think you get a really talented coach. Now go to culture fit. Mentioned from Appleton, Iowa, small town. I think Darian DeVries is a guy that is going to understand what West Virginia is all about. I think this is a really good culture fit. Not kind of a good culture fit. I think this is a guy West Virginia fans are going to really rally around, really like, feel that it's somebody just like them. I think from that side of it, this is absolutely a home run.
And defense is a key in what they do. They run really great offense, but you've got to be able to guard in this league, and Ren Baker said that from the beginning of his search. You take a look at the 2 best teams this year in the Big 12 Conference in both Houston and Iowa State, and they guard. And you've got no choice. You have to guard in this league, and I think he brings that characteristic with him. And in addition to that, and this had probably not a whole lot to do with the final decision, but it just happens to be bringing with him his son, who's the 2-time Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. And obviously, West Virginia's roster is going to be in a massive rebuild from the beginning, and so it's nice to have a piece.
There's no question. Tucker's really good. Was a top 60 recruit coming out of high school, 6'7" player that can do it all. Shoot from the outside, let him in rebounds, let him assist, let him in points. So that's an instant start with the transfer portal, guys. If Tucker DeVries were to hit the open market, he would probably be one of the top 5 players nationally, maybe higher than that. West Virginia starts with a building block in Tucker DeVries. Real quick on the profile of Darian's teams, and it's pretty simple. It's hard to do, Hoppy, but it's pretty simple. They make shots, they don't turn it over, and they are an elite defensive rebounding team. So, yeah, they'll guard you, but their secret to defense really is they don't give you a second and third shot. You're going to get one, and you better make it. So if you're having a tough shooting night, you're not getting in there for more rebounds. If you look at his Drake teams, they were very well constructed. They have different pieces that play and complement each other very well. So, yes, he's tough. The team will be tough, and their offense is really good. You don't learn under Dana Altman and Greg McDermott and not be very good offensively. His Drake teams have been that as well.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that Tucker DeVries was very excited about playing in the Big 12. I mean, he's a great player, and he wants a chance to play against great players.
Yeah, he
should be
excited.
a draw.
Yeah, that's a great showcase for him, a guy that has aspirations to play professionally, to be able to, he's done all he can do in the Missouri Valley.
Right.
Freshman of the year, 2-time player of the year, get a chance to go in the best basketball league in America. That's an absolute boon for him.
And for DeVries as a coach, and look, Drake is an excellent school academically.
Brad's from Des Moines, couldn't get in there.
Couldn't get in?
Couldn't get in.
To where?
Drake.
No, but enrollment of 5,000. The coach's salary, I think, is like $650,000. So this is a move up. This is a move up for him and an opportunity. And again, a pretty young guy. But I like the fact he hasn't been everywhere. I like the fact he was at a place. Was schooled as an assistant for 16 or 17 years. Has been at Drake for 7 years. So I like that. And again, it just feels culturally, and I understand again that he and his family like the idea of where this is, geographically. I mean, he's a Midwestern guy, but it feels the atmosphere is still similar to where he's coming from.
Hop, if there's anything I feel really comfortable about saying, it's if you're from Iowa and come to West Virginia, you will find a lot of similarities, and I think I'm fairly an expert on that exact situation, so I can speak directly to that.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like Darian, the way that it's spelled, but it's Darren. All right, it's Darren DeVries, 23rd.
Like Don Nalen.
Yeah, like Don Nalen. Yeah, 23rd coach in the history of West Virginia University. West Virginia connection, 2005. He's on the staff at Creighton in that unbelievable run that West Virginia went on. If you remember, they beat Creighton on a missed shot by a great player by the name of Nate Funk from the Blue Jays. And when West Virginia went on the next round to beat Wake Forest on its way to the Sweet 16 and eventually the Elite 8. So there was just a little touch back in the day. All right, so Darren DeVries is the Mountaineer coach. We will continue to follow this. We'll have a complete breakdown on Three Guys before the game and right on the website at wvmetronews.com.